The world celebrates those who move fast, the innovators who break things, the ones who disrupt. But I built my life and my fortune on a much quieter principle: waiting. My name is Charlie Munger, and patience, not brilliance, is the cornerstone of everything I've achieved. I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, back in 1924. It's the same city that gave the world Warren Buffett, but our paths wouldn't cross for many years. As a young man, my ambition wasn't to be rich, it was to understand. I wanted to grasp how the world truly worked. This curiosity led me to study mathematics at the University of Michigan, a discipline that taught me the power of logic and reason. But life, as it often does, had other plans. World War II interrupted my studies, and I found myself serving in the U.S. Army Air Corps. After the war, I set my sights on Harvard Law School. There was just one problem: I didn't have an undergraduate degree. The administration told me it was impossible, a rule set in stone. But I've never been one to accept limits set by others. I persisted, I argued my case, and I got in. That was an early lesson. Sometimes the biggest barriers are just suggestions you don't have to follow. But my early life was far from a string of victories. It was marked by profound hardship. I went through a painful divorce. I faced the humiliation of bankruptcy, and I endured the most devastating loss a parent can face: the death of my young son. I remember nights sleeping on bare floors in empty rooms, the silence deafening, wondering if I could ever piece my life back together. It was in that darkness that I learned one of life's most powerful truths: pain clears the mind. When everything you thought was stable collapses, a strange and powerful clarity emerges. You see what truly matters. It wasn't until I was in my 30s that my life took a turn that would define its second half. I met a young, brilliant investor from my hometown, a man named Warren Buffett. He spoke about businesses and stocks with a passion and insight I'd never encountered. He saw value where others saw none. But what truly bonded us wasn't a shared interest in making money. It was a shared philosophy, a deep-seated desire to think better, to understand the world on a more fundamental level. At the time, Warren was a devout follower of his mentor, Benjamin Graham, who preached buying cigar but companies' businesses that were statistically cheap, with one last puff of profit left in them. I saw the logic, but I also saw its limitations. I told him, "Warren, your thinking is small. You're too focused on buying fair businesses at wonderful prices. The real key is to buy wonderful businesses at fair prices." It was a shift in perspective, moving from just numbers on a page to the quality of the business itself, its management, and its long-term competitive advantages. He listened, and that conversation was the seed that grew into Berkshire Hathaway, one of the most successful and enduring companies in modern history. We didn't just invest together. We built a framework for rational thinking. I've never been known for my gentle bedside manner. I tend to say things directly, without sugarcoating. I've told people, if you want to do better than most, just spend less time being stupid. It might sound harsh, it might make people laugh, but it's a fundamental truth. Most major failures in life and in business don't come from a lack of intelligence. They come from a lack of discipline, from emotional reactions, from following the herd off a cliff. The most important thing you can do is systematically identify and avoid common psychological biases and errors in judgment. My entire approach to life is built on the idea of mental models. You can't understand a complex world through a single lens. To really solve difficult problems, you need a latticework of models from different disciplines. I borrowed from physics to understand equilibrium and tipping points. I learned from biology about evolution and adaptation in systems. I used psychology to understand human misjudgment and incentives. And of course, economics gave me the tools of supply and demand and competitive advantage. Investing isn't a game you play with a single rulebook. It's a multidisciplinary art. And that's how I lived my life, not just how I invested. I was never the guy chasing the latest trend. I never got excited about hype or worshipped innovation just for its own sake. Buzzwords change, technologies become obsolete, but fundamental wisdom endures. That's why I preferred businesses I could understand, run by people I could trust, with durable competitive advantages, because the truth is, wealth that is built fast is often built on a foundation of sand, and it disappears even faster. True, lasting wealth is built slowly, deliberately, brick by brick. People are always looking for a secret formula, a magic bullet for success. They ask me, "Charlie, what's the secret?" And my answer is always disappointingly simple. It's not about what you do. It's about what you avoid. Avoid envy. It's the most self-destructive of all sins. You'll never be happy if you're constantly measuring yourself against others. Avoid resentment. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only corrodes you from the inside. And most importantly, avoid stupidity. Don't do things that you know are foolish just because others are doing them. Instead, be patient. Let the world rush by. Let them chase fads. You wait for the right pitch. And in the meantime, you do the most important work of all. You keep learning. Read every single day. Read not just in your own field, but far outside of it. Become a learning machine. The person who goes to bed wiser than when they woke up has succeeded. That is the ultimate compound interest. I didn't live my life with the goal of becoming rich. The wealth was a byproduct. I lived my life with the goal of becoming wise. And that has made all the difference. Thank you for listening.